been reviewed by other people based on a load flow study that under normal operations, they need that connected. Now, once you go to N-1 conditions, meaning you've got an outage, then a whole bunch of other things take effect on the transmission grid. Some of them can be very expensive to run. And so, yes, they will still feed us from the north, but under normal conditions, just the way their loads typically flow across the system, a condition that was put on a second POD for Heber Light and Power was to complete the connection between Jordanelle and Hale.
I mean,
The condition for this.
I know this is simplistic, but it just seems, and I think a lot of people are suspect about this in terms of, do we really need this? I can clearly see Rocky Mountain's position. If I was Rocky Mountain Power, I would have negotiated the exact same thing, because that basically is the leverage to give them what they need, which is really, again, not benefiting the valley here. And that's why they're willing, I believe, to pay 80% of the cost. So we're not going to resolve this evening. I commend the board. I think alternatives need to be studied, because I think there are alternatives that again, I think we're getting the cart before the horse to look at cost studies of burying this when we don't even know if this is needed. We're making the assumption on all these cost analysis is that we need this for Heber Valley residents. And I don't know necessarily if that's the case.
Okay.
Well, just to reply to that, my earlier stuff that's based on the engineering of, number one, our system, the analysis done on the growth of the valley is that, this is needed for Heber Light and Power, and it is needed prior to 2022.
Jason, might I say
If the growth is so
What-
great,
what-
then
Specify
then it
what
will
is
go
needed.
down. It will go down.
The interchange.
It will go down.
The interconnect or the upgrade.
We need a 138 kV delivery point on our system prior to 2022.
To Midway or through the
Whatever's in
valley?
this valley, it will go.
Well, we need them connected, and we need a new substation built that can handle the loads that we're talking about after 2022.
Just one final request. I would recommend that the board look at, when they look at alternatives, is to ask, the expert opinions and analysis on this, aside from the players that are involved here, that would look at alternatives.
And we're just at the beginning of this, so I appreciate, I for one, that's a very fair concern.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ian Harvey. I'm a Heber City resident. My comment is somewhat like the last, but with a twist, and that is to address the too much demand for energy and not enough supply growth. I have to wonder if we're looking at all of our options. I don't mean to insult anyone's intelligence, but I think there might be a more simple solution, and that would be to create energy within the valley. Instead of trying to bring it in from without. If you look at Paraguay, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Costa Rica, Austria, there's many more. These countries are all pretty much 100% renewable energy sufficient. I don't see why a valley like the Heber Valley that gets so much sun can't go along that road. My family, we considered installing solar panels this last year, which would have made us completely off the grid. The expensive part is the batteries. And the reason we were looking at batteries is because if you don't go with batteries, then you're at the mercy of the local power company. The reason I say that is, traditionally, if you have solar panels as a household owner, and you generate more energy than you need during the day, the energy goes back to the grid. And traditionally, that's been a 1-to-1 ratio, traditionally. But more recently, power companies such as Rocky Mountain Power have been making it a less equitable deal where you get 3 in from the sun, one in from the, you get 3 in from the sun and only get paid for 1 in terms of your dollars. So you're only getting paid, what you bring back to the grid is about 30%, 33%. And that is the one thing, although right now Heber Power, from my understanding, is still good on this. I was afraid, and many of my friends were afraid, that that ratio was going to change, and that would make our investment in solar panels have some strong consequences for our family's financial future. And so I wondered if perhaps part of the solution would be to make it outright, it's going to be 1 to 1 or 1 to 1.5 or whatever it might be for the near future, so that people would have more courage in investing in solar in their households. We all have roofs facing the sun, and we get tons of sun. I wonder if that would be a solution to handle our growth and to make us maybe more forward-thinking as a community, and maybe not ruin our valley with these monstrous powers. That's my suggestion. I do think it's an option, as long as the householders don't think that it's going to change.
It's an option, and we've had talks with Tesla. We've had talks with Caterpillar on battery storage. It is very expensive, as you say. I think you bring up a really fair point. We need to lock in some sort of reward for those who do go to solar. I think that's a very fair concern. And Jason, is there anything else you would want to add to that? Because we have been looking into this and continue to look.
I do have a comment.
So,
you said.
I would like to add to it, and it's a question and a question and a comment, and I'm not asking for an answer. You can all think of the answer yourself. Solar's an option. People have looked at it. I have a daughter that has solar on her house. I don't know, it's not paying. They discovered that they had a rip-off from the company that put them on, that they bought out of it now. But to ask the question, who's going to provide you electricity when your solar panels aren't?
That's my point.
you still can use the grid system.
That's my point.
Well, but then you still need the grids, the point I'm making.
The grid's already there.
So
What if it's within the valley? We're not needing necessarily energy from without the valley, any a vast increase. To the point about batteries, the battery's the prohibitive part. And you need batteries if you live in the middle of nowhere, where you're not near a grid, or if the local power company has got a 3-to-1 ratio like they do in Salt Lake Valley. But if the citizens of Wasatch County were told, Heber Valley Light Power is not going to raise that and make it more expensive for you to return power to the grid, then I think a whole lot more people would have the confidence investing in solar, which would drastically reduce the stress that we have in our electrical supply. I would definitely do it. And I was going to do this last year, but I couldn't get an answer with confidence about Heber Valley Light Power not changing that ratio to our detriment, which meant I don't have enough money to kind of, I'm not a principled person necessarily, it'd be practical. It would pay for itself after a number of years as long as that ratio wasn't changed. And it would make us, I don't know, a more forward-thinking valley. And I do think that would address some of the problems that we've been hashing over here.
I think you're right about the battery being a problem. I think Jason did a lot of research into this. I remember the numbers. Was it like $200 versus 7 cents, Jason, the numbers that you gave us as far as per?
Yeah, EIA data right now is around $200 kilowatt hour for batteries.
For a household, the batteries are prohibitive. If you have a small solar system, which we would need because we have a small house, the batteries would be something like $7,000 every 5 years. So that makes it completely prohibitive for us I'm concerned, because they need to be replaced around every 5 years. But if you're in Heber City or hooked under the grid, and you're convinced that the local power company is not going to make it a 1 to 3, but rather continue at 1 to 1,
We get it.
there's no reason not to do it. It pays for itself in a very short amount of time,
This is the
and it's a good thing to do as far as I'm concerned. Why not do it in that case? And I think that would also, in my opinion, I think it would solve our community's problem with not having enough energy. And like I said, there's all these other countries that do it, and they're not nearly as advanced as we are in terms of our technology. And we got this blazing hot sun putting all this energy, we have roofs facing the sun.
3 times.
I don't see, it doesn't make our valley less beautiful. It's cheap, it's abundant. As long as the local power company gives us a 1 to 1, there's no reason not to do it. And it would solve our energy supply problem, in my opinion, if 1,000 houses did, which I think would be realistic. We would need that commitment though, in order to invest in it.
Okay.
Personally.
We got it.
Can I just say to that point, one of the issues that we do have with solar, that we see with solar, not that we have, but we see is that the sun isn't shining when our utility peaks. So we peak, maybe around 7 or 8 o'clock at night when the sun isn't shining anymore and we don't have that solar generation. So regardless of how much solar we have in the valley, we still need all of that energy to come to us on peak, right? Unless, of course, batteries would come down, right? We got batteries in the valley that would compensate for that, but
No,
solar, unfortunately, for every kilowatt hour that you sell to us, that you generate, we might be able to pass that on to another customer and reduce how much we're bringing in, right? But then in months where the sun isn't shining, we still have to bring all that energy in and pay you back a kilowatt hour, right?
The reality is the sun does shine here a whole heck of a lot.
Okay.
Not at night.
Not near enough.
Right, during the day and night, no. So but you said during the months that the sun doesn't shine so much, we still get a whole lot of sun in the Heber Valley.
Can I just say, from a pure technical perspective, there's a lot of good ideas out there, but a solar system does not come back online unless the grid comes back. We already have a lot of renewable energy on our grid, behind the meter, that we have invested a lot of money in. We have hydro at the Jordan Elm. We have 3 little hydro plants that we run, all super green, run the river streams. We have a 13 megawatt gas plant. But if there is an outage, then all the generation comes off, including the solar on the homes. It all comes off. It doesn't help us get the grid back. We have to have capacity enough to get the grid back. And then we can bring the generation back online. It's part of our portfolio. We use it all the time. But at the end of the day, when we're all tied to an interconnected grid, even the solar systems are, even the batteries are, they don't help us. The inverters keep them off the grid. The inverters log out, they keep them off the grid, so if there is a transmission outage, we have to have capacity at our interconnection point to get the grid energized again so that all of this generation can come online. This is a capacity issue, not an energy issue.
Which I think is really hard for us to all understand, and I'm learning more and more about that. I think, to your point with solar, I would like to see us lock in some sort of a thing, and we'll have to maybe do some more solar discussions, but I think that could be one of the pieces of our solutions.
We have one of the most progressive net metering policies in the state of Utah.
Yeah, and it's a good one. Are we locked into it for any period of time?
How can you lock it in? We don't lock in rates.
Okay.
And the value of a kilowatt is always going to be a value of a kilowatt.
And so is it a fair assumption, I'm asking the question, is it a fair assumption that we're not going to say a dollar amount because rates change, but a kilowatt for a kilowatt, is that a fair thing to lock in or no?
We have a feed-in tariff program that will lock in the rate for 20 years, the life of the solar system.
Okay, great.
What is that 1-to-1, or what is that? I don't understand what you said about the feed-in tariff.
It's currently at 6 cents.
And so that's great. I think we should publicize that, because I looked into it and
It's on our website.
But publicity would be good, and I appreciate that. I think that we've got a couple of things that are really good on our website that people don't even know about yet. I just had someone tell me about the renewable energy sign-up thing. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones that have signed up. So that's a really cool thing that we have that nobody knows about. So we need to do some more work on that.
I just want to say, I think that our valley's in good hands, and thank you for your help.
Thank you.
My name's Lindsay Rio, I'm a resident of Heber Valley. And I have basically 2 concerns that have not been brought up today at all on anything, and one of them is sound, the noise that these transmission lines make. I don't know if it's any different than the ones in other major cities. I mean, if you can be, 1,000 yards away and it's just this high pitch, they make a horrible sound.